My dad is going to Shanghai for surgery, and the doctor recommends that he rest locally for half a month after the surgery. The first thing I thought of was my uncle. He and his aunt lived in his 3-bedroom house. What's more, I paid off his son's mortgage for 3 years, $8,000 a month, without interruption. When I called, my uncle coldly refused. It's inconvenient. The place at home is small, and I can't live in it. I hung up the phone, silently opened mobile banking, and canceled the automatic repayment for next month. Since my dad can't live in your house, you should pay off the mortgage yourself. 01. In the corridor of the municipal hospital, the smell of disinfectant water is pungent. The doctor adjusted his glasses and looked at the CT film in his hand. Mr. Su, your father's condition requires surgery as soon as possible. The surgery is not major, but the location is critical. I suggest not to rush back to your hometown after the operation, but to rest in Shanghai for half a month so that we can observe. I nodded, my voice a little dry. Okay, doctor, it's all up to you. After seeing the doctor off, I looked at my gray-haired father on the hospital bed and felt sour in my heart. Don't worry about the cost of the surgery. I've saved some money over the years. The key is the place to rest after surgery. Staying in a hotel is too expensive and the environment is noisy, which is not conducive to recovery. The first thing I thought of was my Uncle Su Jianglong. He has a 3-bedroom house in Shanghai, 120 square meters, very spacious. He and his aunt Lu Chui were the only 2 people living at home. His son, my cousin Su Hao, has moved out long ago. It was perfect for him to let his father stay at his house for half a month. Not to mention, I took out my phone, and the little hesitation in my heart was instantly washed away by an idea. I paid off the mortgage for his son Su Hao for 3 full years. Rain or shine. $8,000 a month, no more, no less. The bank's debit text messages arrive on time every month. In the past 3 years, I have never mentioned this matter. Su Hao didn't mention it, and his uncle and aunt pretended not to know. They, as a family, tacitly enjoyed my efforts. I feel that now is the time for them to pay back 1/10,000th. I walked to the end of the corridor and dialed my uncle's number. The phone rang for a long time before it was picked up. Hey, Su Jing, what's going on? The uncle's voice was as cold as ever, with a hint of impatience. Uncle, my dad needs an operation. I tried to sound calm. Just in Shanghai. The doctor recommended that you rest locally for half a month after the operation. I want him to stay at your place for a while, so that you can take care of him. There was silence on the other end of the phone. I could hear the sound of the TV and my aunt's faint voice, asking questions. Who? Su Jing said that her father is going to have surgery. Then there was a hushed conversation. My heart sank little by little. A few seconds later, his uncle's voice sounded again, with a businesslike coldness. Inconvenient. Just 3 words. Like 3 ice picks piercing my ears. I was stunned, almost thinking I heard wrong. What? I said it's inconvenient. The uncle's tone became more serious, showing a sense of righteous boredom. Your aunt has been in poor health recently, and the place at home is too small to live in. 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. 120 square feet. 2 people live. The place is small. Can't live in it. My fingers holding the phone were slightly white from exertion. A chill rushed from the soles of my feet to the sky. I can even imagine my uncle leaning on the sofa and frowning when he said this, as if my request was some big trouble. I didn't argue or question. The words that came to my lips about mortgages, family ties, and about my dad being his brother all seemed so redundant and ridiculous at this moment. In front of a person who is pretending to sleep, all reason is just noise. I understand, Uncle. I said calmly, surprising even myself with my calmness. Then don't bother me. I hung up the phone. There is no sloppiness at all. The wind from the corridor was blowing, and it was a bit cold. I leaned against the wall and exhaled slowly. The breath was very long, as if he wanted to spit out all the grievances and unwillingness accumulated in the past 3 years. Then I unlocked the phone. Without any hesitation, I opened the mobile banking app. Enter your password skillfully and log in. In transfer and remittance, find the item, automatic repayment. On the screen, an automatic transfer setting was clearly displayed. Payee, Su Hao. Amount, 8,000 yuan. Automatically executed on the 5th day of every month. The record, which lasted 36 months, was like a silent joke. I looked at that line of words, and the last trace of warmth in my eyes disappeared. Tap your fingertip on the screen. Cancel the autopay service? A pop-up window popped up. I pressed OK. The phone vibrated slightly. A system message from the bank popped up immediately. Dear customer, your bank card with the last number XXXX has successfully canceled the automatic transfer service for Su Hao, and it will no longer be implemented starting next month. I stared at that text message for a long time. I feel calmer than ever before. Su Jianglong. Lu Chui. Su Hao. Since your 120 square meter house cannot accommodate my sick father. Then my hard-earned money of 8,000 per month will no longer have to be squeezed into your mortgage account. That's fair enough. 02. After canceling the automatic repayment, I immediately started making arrangements for my father to be hospitalized. Nursing staff, nutritious meals, and post-operative recovery. I found the best private nursing facility in Shanghai. Problems that money can solve are not problems. I just don't want to ask anyone for these things anymore. Especially my loved ones. 2 days later, my father's surgery went smoothly. After the anesthesia wore off, he woke up and was in good spirits. Seeing me busy, he felt a little sorry. Jingjing, thank you for your hard work. Otherwise, it's better to call your uncle. It's not a problem to be in the hospital all the time. I said with a smile while peeling the apple for him. Dad, I found a good place. It's a service department with a kitchen right near the hospital. I rented it to you for a month. I've also hired a caregiver who will work 24 hours a day so you can take care of her with peace of mind. The father was stunned, then sighed. You kid, you just report good things but not bad things. Is it inconvenient for your uncle's place? I smiled and handed him the apple. Dad, there's nothing inconvenient. It's just that I don't think we should cause trouble to anyone. I have the ability to take good care of you. That's enough. Father didn't ask any more questions. He understands my temper and will not change what I have decided. In the next few days, I took care of my father in the hospital and handled the company's work on my laptop. Life is busy yet peaceful. Until the afternoon of the third day. My cell phone rang. The caller ID was my cousin Sue Howe. I looked at the name without any wavering in my eyes and pressed the answer button. Hello. Sister, it's me, Sue Howe. His voice sounded anxious, even questioning. Sister, the bank sent me a message today saying that my automatic mortgage repayment failed next month. Did you make a mistake there? Or is there no money in the card? I closed the notebook, picked up the cup, and took a sip of water. That's right. There's money in the card. I canceled it. My voice was calm, as if I was talking about a small thing about the nice weather today. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a moment. Deathly silence. I could clearly hear his breathing getting heavier and heavier. After more than 10 seconds, Sue Howe's voice sounded again, full of disbelief. Cancel? Why, sister? Why did you cancel the repayment? Did I do something wrong? I almost laughed out loud. What did he do wrong? His biggest mistake was enjoying everything with peace of mind and taking it for granted. You did nothing wrong. I said calmly. It's just that I'm a little tight lately. Sue Howe immediately became anxious. Tight money? How could it be? Sister, didn't you just get promoted? Your monthly salary is tens of thousands. How come there is a shortfall of 8,000 yuan? Listen, he even knows my income situation better than I do. My dad is sick and I need to spend money. I gave a watertight reason. Sue Howe's breathing stagnated and his tone weakened. Uncle is sick? Is it serious? It's okay, I can't die. My indifference seemed to make him a little overwhelmed. He hesitated and said, then, Uncle is going to have to spend money when he is sick, but the mortgage cannot be cut off. If the loan is cut off, the bank will sue. The house will be taken away. His voice was louder again, unabashedly anxious and selfish. Oh, that's pretty serious. I said, yes, sister, hurry up and restore the automatic repayment. Just treat it like I'm begging you. When I have money in the future, I will definitely pay you back. There it is again. 3 years ago, he and his girlfriend Lili said the same thing when they cried and asked me for help. But 3 years have passed and I haven't seen him pay back a penny. He upgraded to the latest mobile phone, bought a watch worth 100,000 yuan, and posted photos of his travels in his circle of friends. Sue Howe. I interrupted his plea. I called your dad 2 days ago. Sue Howe was stunned for a moment. Call my dad. Right. My dad is having surgery, and I want to stay at your house for half a month. Your father said that your house is too small to live in. I spoke very slowly, word by word, clearly. I thought at the time, yes, a house of 120 square meters is indeed too crowded. Since the house is so crowded, it's not appropriate for me to squeeze in 8,000 yuan a month. So, I will help you make room. You're welcome. The breathing sound on the other end of the phone completely disappeared. I could seem to see the blood draining from his face and his stunned look. After a long silence, Sue Howe's voice was trembling and annoyed. That's what my dad meant. What does it have to do with me? He began to distance himself from the relationship. It does matter. I said coldly. The fact that you live in that house has something to do with your father. Your dad is my uncle and is related to my dad. So, this money has something to do with me. But now, I paused and declared word by word. Your dad said that my dad can't live in his house, which means that he doesn't want to have anything to do with my dad anymore. In this case, this money, of course, has nothing to do with you. Sue Howe hung up the phone directly. I looked at the darkened screen with a sneer on my lips. He must have been confused by my logic and was going to bring in reinforcements. Really? Less than a minute. The phone rang crazily again. Caller ID, 2 words. Aunt. 03. Before answering the phone, I poured myself a glass of warm water. I knew it was going to be a storm. Hey, Auntie. Su Jing, you've become more capable, haven't you? Your wings have become stronger, haven't you? Lu Chui's sharp and mean voice pierced my eardrum like an electric drill. No greeting, no foreshadowing. Get straight to the point and ask for help. Why did you stop Sue Howe's mortgage? Who gave you the courage? I took the phone away and waited for her first wave of anger to finish. Auntie, that money is mine. I can stop my money whenever I want. It seems that no one's consent is required. My calmness obviously irritated her even more. Your money? What happened to your money? We are a family. If you earn so much a month, shouldn't you give 8,000 yuan to your brother to pay off the mortgage? Isn't it right? If your brother has a bad life, your sister's face will be lighted. I have heard this rhetoric of moral kidnapping since I was a child. In the past, I would remain silent and compromise. But now, I just find it ridiculous. Family? I asked gently. My dad is going to have surgery and wanted to stay at a family's house for half a month. Why was he dismissed with the word inconvenient? At that time, why didn't you say we were a family? Lu Chui choked for a moment and then used a louder voice to cover up her guilty conscience. Isn't that really inconvenient at home? I'm not in good health, and your uncle has to go to work. Who has time to take care of your dad? Besides, if you are so rich, you can just hire a nurse to live in a high-end ward. Why do you have to come to our house? Listening to her confusing explanation, the last trace of family affection in my heart completely turned cold. In her logic, I should pay the money, and if they contribute a little bit, it is a great favor to me. Okay, well said. I nodded, even though she couldn't see it. Since my dad shouldn't bother you, then Suhao's mortgage loan shouldn't bother me anymore. Isn't it nice that everyone doesn't bother each other? You. Lu Chui was speechless by me and started to make trouble. Su Jing, let me tell you, don't do this with me. You must continue to repay Suhao's mortgage. If you don't pay it back, I will tell the leader of your work unit that you don't recognize your relatives and you don't even care about your own brother. I want to go to the hospital to make trouble and show your dad what a good daughter he has raised. I picked up the water glass and took a sip. The warm water makes my mind calmer. Threaten? What I am least afraid of is threats. Auntie, before you go make trouble, I suggest you settle an account first. What account? Lu Chui was stunned for a moment. From that month 3 years ago to last month, it was a total of 36 months. 8,000 yuan a month. 36 times 8,000 equals 288,000. I state the number clearly. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a moment. I can imagine the shocked expression on Lu Chui's face when she heard this number. She may have never thought that this little money that she took for granted would accumulate to such a huge fortune. 288,000. I repeated it to impress her. Every transaction of this money has a bank transfer record. You said if I take these records and go to court to sue Suhao, sue him for private lending, and ask him to pay me back with interest. What will the court decide? You dare. Lu Chui's voice trembled for the first time. It's fear. See if I dare. I sneered. My dad only needs to borrow a bed at your house for half a month. Your house has 3 bedrooms and 1 living room, 120 square meters, and you can't afford it. And I used 288,000 to buy your son a new house where he can live in peace of mind. Now, I just want to use this huge sum of money to exchange for the right to use a bed in your house for half a month. You don't want to. Then I have to take the money back, rent a comfortable apartment for my dad, and hire a professional caregiver. Auntie, tell me, in this matter, who is being unreasonable and who is disowning her relatives? My words were like a sharp knife, peeling away all her hypocrisy and selfishness. She was speechless by my question. The only sound on the other end of the phone was heavy breathing. The moral shackles she was proud of were vulnerable to naked money and facts. For a long time, Lu Chui finally choked out a sentence, her voice hoarse, full of resentment and unwillingness. Su Jing, don't be proud. Do you think our family only points to your 8,000 yuan? Let me tell you, Su Hao is getting married next month. The bride price has been agreed upon. You cut off the loan now because you deliberately want to embarrass our family in front of your in-laws. You want to ruin his marriage. What on earth do you have in mind? Turn out to be. I'm getting married next month. 04. It turns out that they're getting married. I understood everything instantly. Why did my aunt react so violently? Why do they dare to treat me like a cash machine so confidently? Because Su Hao's marriage is their greatest confidence. They were sure that as the eldest sister of the Su family, it was absolutely impossible for me to watch my cousin's marriage get disrupted. They were sure that I would compromise again for the sake of the so-called family face. They were sure that I would be tied to the spot by these 2 words of family love. What a pity. They miscalculated one thing. The moment they shut my dad out. The string called family affection in my heart has been broken. Auntie. My voice was as calm as a frozen lake. Su Hao's marriage is a happy event. Congratulations. But what does his marriage have to do with me stopping my mortgage? Lu Chui didn't seem to expect this reaction from me and was stunned for a moment. Then she screamed in an unreasonable tone. Why doesn't it matter? It's a big deal. Our Su Hao is going to have a wedding soon. We have to spend money everywhere. You stop the mortgage at this time. Aren't you deliberately causing trouble for us? If the in-laws knew that we couldn't even pay off the mortgage, what would they think of our family? What would they think of Su Hao? Su Jing, you're going to ruin your brother's lifelong happiness. What a big hat. I almost applauded her. Auntie, you seem to have made a mistake. I spoke slowly, and every word was like a heavy hammer hitting her heart. What does Su Hao rely on to have this wedding apartment and the confidence to talk about marriage? It doesn't rely on the savings of you 2 elders, nor does it rely on his own money. It's me, Su Jing, who gets the 8,000 yuan on his card every month, rain or shine. I spent 288,000 to pave the way for him to get married. Now, you are accusing me of ruining his marriage? Is there such a truth in the world? There was deathly silence on the other end of the phone. Lu Chui's breathing was rough and heavy, like an enraged beast. I know that my words hit her where it hurts the most. Their family's biggest worry is the origin of this house. This kind of respectability can only be maintained by exploiting her niece. Say no more. I continued, with a hint of cold sarcasm in my tone. Since you even have a mortgage of 8,000 a month, you have to rely on me to support you. Then what do you use for the wedding? What do you use as the bride price? Does the girlfriend, Su Hao, found know the true situation of your family? Do you know that the man she is going to marry can't even afford his own house? And I'm not ruining his marriage. I'm helping that girl to see clearly in advance what kind of fire pit she's going to jump into. You are talking nonsense. You are spitting blood. Lu Chui roared angrily. You don't need to worry about our family's affairs. I'm telling you, Su Jing, you must reactivate automatic repayment to me within today. Otherwise, I will go to your dad's ward now. I'll ask him how he raised his daughter. He taught you such a cold-blooded and ruthless, white-eyed wolf. Okay. I chuckled softly. You come. My dad's ward number is 603. You're here just in time. I have here all the bank transfer records for the past 3 years, a total of 36 records. There are also chat records of your son Su Hao crying and begging me for help 3 years ago. Oh, by the way, there is also the recording of your husband Su Jinggong's phone call yesterday, in which he said it was inconvenient. When you come, we will tear these things apart one by one in front of my father. Let his old man judge and see if his daughter is a white-eyed wolf. Let him see what kind of person his good brother, sister-in-law, and nephew are. You? Lu Chui's voice was full of panic. She didn't expect that I still had the recording. Her ability to act wildly was completely vulnerable in the face of these ironclad evidences. You dare to threaten me? No. I corrected her calmly. I'm not threatening you. I'm informing you. You can choose to come or not. But whether you come or not, I will not pay back another penny of Su Hao's mortgage. The phone was hung up harshly. I put down my phone and looked out the window at the gray sky. The farce has come to an end for the time being. But I know this is just the beginning. With their family's character, they will never let it go. I rubbed my swollen temples, got up, and walked into my father's ward. My father was wearing reading glasses and reading an old newspaper. Seeing me coming in, he put down the newspaper and asked with concern, "Whose call is it? It's been taking so long." "It's nothing. It's about the company." I smiled and lied and poured him a glass of water. "Dad, how do you feel? Does the wound still hurt?" "It doesn't hurt anymore. It's much better." My father took a sip of water and looked at me with a hesitant look in his eyes. "Jingjing, did your uncle and the others call you?" My heart sank slightly. 05. Although my father is honest, he is not confused. He saw all the subtle changes in my expression when I answered the phone in the past 2 days. I was silent for a moment and decided not to hide it from him anymore. "Yes," Auntie called. I sat on the chair next to the bed and told the story in an understatement. Of course, I hid the specific amount of the mortgage and only said that I did Su Hao a small favor. I don't want my father to feel burdened because he feels he owes them. Even so, my father still let out a long sigh after hearing this. "Hey, how did your uncle become like this?" His cloudy eyes were full of disappointment and confusion. "We are brothers." "Dad, don't think so much." I patted his hand and comforted him. People's hearts can change. We just need to live our own lives without asking them. The father nodded and said no more, but his eyes dimmed. I know that my uncle's indifference hurt him more than the wounds on his body. In the afternoon, I was working on an urgent contract in my apartment. The doorbell rang suddenly. I looked through the peephole and frowned instantly. Standing at the door was Su Hao, and beside him, there was a young girl dressed up in a gorgeous way. It should be his fiancée, Li Li. How did they find this place? I didn't open the door. Su Hao began to knock on the door hard, with impatience in his voice. "Sister, open the door. I know you are inside." "Su Jing, open the door. Let's talk." I looked at them coldly and said nothing. "Jingjing, open the door. I'm Lily." The girl's voice sounded gentler. "We don't mean any harm. We just want to have a good chat with you." "Chat? Do you and I have anything else to talk about?" I picked up my phone and prepared to call the apartment security guard. Just then, my phone rang. It was Su Hao calling. I hesitated for a moment, pressed answer, and turned on the speakerphone. "Su Jing, what do you mean? Isn't it fun to lock us out?" Su Hao's roar came from the phone and from outside the door at the same time. "If you have anything to say, just talk on the phone." My voice is cold. I don't want people to dirty my floor. "You." Su Hao was so angry that he couldn't speak. Lily next to her hurriedly grabbed the phone. "Sister, don't be angry. I am Lily." Her voice sounded sincere. "Su Hao told me that it was our fault regarding the mortgage. We are here today just to apologize to you. We know that you helped us in the past, and we all remember it in our hearts. Look, we are getting married next month. At this critical moment, we must not cut off the mortgage loan. Sister, just think of it as helping us one last time, okay?" What she said was impeccable. First apologize, show weakness, then play the emotional card, and finally make a request. She is much higher in rank than that shrew Lu Chui. If I were still the soft-hearted Su Jing before, maybe I would really be persuaded by her. Unfortunately, I am no longer. "Apology received," I said calmly, "but the mortgage will no longer be repaid." "Why, sister?" Lily's voice also became anxious. "We have all apologized to you. What else do you want?" "Not very good," I said. "I just feel that your marriage should not be based on my hard-earned money. Since you want to get married and start a family of your own, you should be able to take on the responsibilities of a family, instead of being like an unweaned child, expecting others to feed you." My words caused a deathly silence outside the door. After a long time, Lily's crying voice came. "Sister, how can you say that about us? There is nothing we can do. Housing prices in Shanghai are so expensive. We also want to have our own home. If you want to have a family, earn it yourself." I interrupted her unceremoniously, instead of taking other people's contributions for granted. Lily, let me ask you a question. What? In the past 3 years, I've paid off your mortgage of 288,000 yuan. Did Suhao tell you about this? Lily was obviously stunned and hesitated. He said that you helped a little bit. Not helping. I corrected her word for word. It's an offering. I paid for him and bought him a wedding room so that he could have the capital to marry you. As for my dad, his uncle is ill and wanted to stay at his house for half a month. His parents said the place was too small to fit in. Do you still want me to continue to support you, the newlyweds? Do you think this is fair? Outside the door, there was no sound at all. I can even imagine the look of shock and disbelief on Li Li's face. Suhao was probably panicking. He lowered his voice as if he was explaining something to Li Li. Immediately afterwards, the sound of two people arguing was heard outside the door. The sound grew louder and more intense. So you've been lying to me. I didn't. Listen to my explanation. What else are you explaining? They have already calculated the money. 280,000. You told me that you just helped me a little. Suhao, what do you think your family thinks of me? Did I sell me to you to pay off your debt? What nonsense are you talking about? Then, there was Suhao's angry reinterpretation roar. Su Jing, open the door for me. What are you thinking about? Do you want to disrupt my marriage? I tell you, if I can't get married today, I will. He didn't finish his sentence. I heard the elevator door open. 2 uniformed security guards came over. Hello, this is a private apartment. Who are you looking for? Let's find my sister. The owner has complained, saying that you are making loud noises here and affecting her normal life. Please leave immediately. The voice of a security guard cannot be ignored. Suhao wanted to argue, but Lily stopped him. The girl said coldly through the door, Suhao, you really make me sick. Then I heard the sound of high heels walking away. Suhao froze at the door for a few seconds. Finally, he looked at the cat's eyes and said a vicious sentence. Su Jing, wait, don't embarrass me. Shameful? I laughed. Who is it, and whose person is being thrown away? 06. The drama between Suhao and his fiancée did not affect me at all. I even felt a little happy. This is just the beginning. What they took from me, I will let them return little by little, with interest. The next morning, I was chatting with my father in the hospital. An unknown number called. The place of belonging is my hometown. I picked up the phone. Hey, is this Su Jing? On the other end of the phone was an old and majestic voice. It's my grandfather. Grandpa, it's me. My heart sank. I know that the reinforcements were finally brought in by them. And it's the largest one. Where are you now? There was no hint of joy or anger in Grandpa's tone. I'm in Shanghai. Dad is doing surgery. Well, your uncle told me. Grandpa's voice paused. How was your dad's surgery? It's going well and recovering. That's good. There was silence. I didn't take the initiative to speak. I know what he's waiting for. Sure enough, after a few seconds, Grandpa changed the subject. Su Jing, what's going on with your cousin's mortgage? Coming. Your uncle and aunt are very old. They called me yesterday and cried so much that they had runny noses and tears. Say that you have become successful now. Your wings have hardened and you don't recognize them anymore. You also want to make your cousin's marriage impossible. You give me an explanation. His tone contained an unquestionable command. Ever since he was little, he has been the absolute authority in this family. No one dared to disobey him. In the past, I might have felt scared and guilty because of his words. But now, my heart is calm. Grandpa, what did Uncle tell you about this? I didn't explain directly, but asked a question. He said that you stopped Suhao's mortgage loan because of a trivial matter. What little thing? I asked. He said that your father wanted to stay at their house for a few days while he was undergoing surgery. It was inconvenient for them to stay at home recently, so he refused. He said that because of this, you held a grudge and deliberately took revenge. Su Jing, is that true? I couldn't help but sneer when I listened to the confusing remarks relayed by my grandfather on the phone. Why are you laughing? Grandpa's tone became stern. I find it ridiculous. I said, Grandpa, my dad is your eldest son and Uncle's eldest brother. He came to Shanghai for surgery and was unfamiliar with the place. He wanted to stay at his brother's house for half a month. Isn't this an excessive request? Uncle's house has 3 bedrooms and 1 living room, 120 square meters. Just the 2 of them live there. He said it was inconvenient. He said the place at home is too small to fit in. Is this, in your opinion, a trivial matter? Grandpa was silent. I could feel that he couldn't refute my words. As for Suhao's mortgage, I continued. For the past 3 years, I've paid him back 8,000 every month. A total of 288,000. I used the money to buy him a house where he could get married. Now, I just don't want to continue giving. Is this wrong? Grandpa, you are the elder of this family, and you are the most reasonable. It's up to you to judge. Did I, the granddaughter, do something wrong, or did they, as a family, bully others too much? My words speak volumes. Throw all the questions back to him intact. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. I could hear Grandpa breathing heavily. I know that there is a war between heaven and man in his heart. On the one hand, there is the deep-rooted respect for elders and younger ones. On the other side, there are irrefutable facts and truths. After a long time, Grandpa's voice sounded again with a hint of exhaustion. Jingjing, I know you have been wronged. However, Su Hao is getting married next month. This is a big event for our Su family. You can't let your in-laws laugh because of this incident. Do you think this will work? First, pay off this month's mortgage to your brother and let him complete the wedding smoothly. After the marriage is completed, I will make the decision and ask your uncle and others to give you an IOU for the money earned in the past 3 years. I will pay you back slowly in the future. A family can't make a fuss like enemies because of this matter, don't you think so? After listening to my grandfather's gentle words, the last hope in my heart was shattered. It's not that he doesn't know who is right and who is wrong. He just cares more about the so-called family face. In his eyes, Su Hao's wedding was much more important than his eldest son's grievances and my efforts. IOU? Pay it back slowly? What a big joke. Grandfather. My voice turned cold. I appreciate your kindness, but this matter is non-negotiable. The money is mine. If you don't pay it back, I have the final say. Who gave you the face to talk to me like this? Grandpa was finally irritated by my attitude, and his voice suddenly rose. Su Jing, I am your grandfather. Do you still have an elder like me in your eyes? Have. I answered calmly. It is precisely because you're the elder that I explained so much to you. If it were anyone else, I wouldn't even answer the phone. If you think that my uncle's family has been greatly wronged, that's easy. 288,000. You return them to me. As long as the money arrives, not only can I resume my mortgage, but I can also give Su Hao a big red envelope and wish him a happy wedding. What do you think? You are forcing me. Grandpa's voice was shaking with anger. I'm giving you a chance to protect the family's face. I spoke clearly, word for word. Since you think face is so important, then buy it with money. There is no such thing as a free lunch. There is no advantage in vain. The call was hung up again. I looked at the phone screen with cold eyes. I know that from this moment on, I've been completely separated from the so-called family in my hometown. That's fine. Feel relaxed. However, I still underestimated how shameless they were. That afternoon, an unexpected person appeared at the door of the ward. It's my uncle, Su Jianglong. He was carrying a fruit basket and had a stiff smile on his face. Lu Chuiyi was not followed behind. He came alone. 07. I looked at Su Jianglong at the door. His smile was uglier than crying. The fruit basket in my hand seemed to be bought casually from a roadside stall, and the packaging was a bit cheap. He stood there, a little embarrassed, his eyes evasive, not daring to look at me. My dad sat up from the bed with a complicated look in his eyes. There was surprise, but also a hint of expectation as an elder brother. Jianglong, why are you here? Su Jianglong immediately put on a warm smile and walked in. Brother, let me see you. He placed the fruit basket heavily on the bedside table with a thud. I heard you had surgery, and I've been thinking about it. How are you? Are you feeling better? His words were spoken with sincerity, as if the person who coldly rejected me on the phone a few days ago was not him at all. Much better. Minor surgery. My dad's voice was dry. Su Jianglong sat down on the chair I had just sat on and rubbed his hands. Brother, you must never see me outside. Don't take what happened the past few days to heart. He sighed, looking regretful. It's all your fault that your aunt has long hair and short knowledge, and she can't speak with her brains. I was also angry at the time, so I spoke too harshly. You are my brother. Can I ignore your affairs? He lightly placed all the responsibilities on Lu Chuiyi. Pick yourself clean. I stood aside and watched his performance with cold eyes. Not even a sorry. Just excuses and excuses. My dad is an honest man. After hearing what he said, the expression on his face softened a lot. What's over is over. As a family, don't talk about that. Yes, brother, you are right. We're a family. Seeing that my father's attitude had softened, Su Jianglong immediately hit the snake with a stick. He turned his head and looked at me with a fawning smile on his face. Jing, look at you. You are also a child. Why are you angry with your aunt? She has a sharp mouth and a soft heart. Don't be as knowledgeable as her. We're all a family. Just talk to each other if you have anything to say. You stopped Su Hao's mortgage. This was a bit impulsive. He finally saw it. After going around in such a big circle, the ultimate goal was to get his son's mortgage. I didn't speak, just looked at him quietly. My silence made Su Jianglong a little embarrassed. He laughed twice and continued. Look, Su Hao is getting married next month. At this juncture, the mortgage loan is cut off. What do your in-laws think? This is not only the person who disgraced Su Hao, but also the person who disgraced our entire Su family, right? As a sister, you have to consider your brother's lifelong affairs, right? He started to put a high hat on me and use family honor to kidnap me. My dad heard the meaning of his words, frowned again, and was about to speak. But I spoke up first. Uncle. My voice was calm, with no emotion audible. Error 500, server error. 1500, that's an error. There was an error. Please try again later. That's all we know. Su Jianglong was stunned for a moment and nodded subconsciously. Yes, that's right. Good. I nodded. Then let me ask you, since it's all a misunderstanding, let's talk it over. Is your 120 square meter house convenient for my dad to live in now? Can the bed used for my dad to recuperate be freed now? I stared into his eyes and asked every word. The air in the ward suddenly solidified. The smile on Su Jinggong's face froze at the corner of his mouth. He opened his mouth as if a fishbone was stuck in his throat, and he couldn't say a word. My dad looked at his embarrassed look, and the last trace of expectation in his eyes was completely extinguished. I sneered. Hypocritical. It's hypocritical to the extreme. I don't even want to tell a lie more perfectly. Look, Uncle. I walked up and picked up the fruit basket he put on the bedside table. You also know it's inconvenient. You also know that you can't free up. In that case, why do we need to say those polite words about a family again? I walked up to him and stuffed the fruit basket back into his arms. We can't afford this. It's a long way, and it's quite heavy. You'd better take it back by yourself. Or, when your son gets married, give it to your in-laws. Tell them this is how your Sioux family treats guests. Su Jiangong held the fruit basket, his face turned from white to red, and from red to green. It was like being slapped several times in public. He stood up suddenly and pointed at me, his fingers trembling. Su Jing, don't be so shameless. 08. His disguise was finally torn off with my own hands. The ugly and selfish face underneath was revealed. I'm shameless. I met his angry gaze and refused to give in. Uncle, have you forgotten? 3 years ago, who brought Su Hao to my home, bursting with runny nose and tears, and begged me for help. Who was patting his chest and promising that when they recover, the money will be returned to me? 3 years, 36 months, 288,000. Did I say anything? Have I ever asked you for a penny? Now my dad is sick and just wants to stay at your house for half a month. How did you do it? We were dismissed with a cold inconvenienced. Now that you can't pay off your mortgage, you come to me to talk about family ties and face? Su Jiangong, how big is your face? My voice was not loud, but it was like a sharp knife piercing his heart. He was speechless by my question, and his face turned the color of pig liver. You're a girl. How can you talk? He held it in for a long time, only to come up with such a weak accusation. That's what my parents taught me. I shot back coldly. Teach me how to repay kindness, and also teach me how to cut off kindness without mercy. Others respect me afoot, and I respect others afoot. If someone wants to cut out my flesh and drink my blood, I will smash all their teeth. Jiangong, you've had enough. The father on the hospital bed finally couldn't help shouting angrily. He pointed at Su Jiangong, trembling with anger. Get out of here. I don't have a brother like you. From today on, our two families will be severed in two. His father's anger completely ignited Su Jiangong's shame and anger. He was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, and his fur instantly exploded. Cut in two? Okay. He slammed the fruit basket in his hand on the ground. The fruit rolled to the ground. Brother, don't regret it. Do you really think your daughter is some kind of baby bump? I tell you, she'll get married sooner or later. It's just water thrown away. If she can do this to us today, she can do this to you tomorrow. You are old and sick, and you are counting on her? Just dream. Only Su Hao, only your nephew, is the one who will care for you until you die. This house belongs to the Su family. It is left to us, the men of the Su family. She is just a little girl. Why should she be dictating things? He roared indiscriminately, shouting out all the most vicious and true thoughts in his heart. I looked at his face twisted with excitement, and my heart felt cold. It turns out that in their eyes, I and even my dad were just outsiders. My 288,000 is just to make wedding clothes for the men of their Su family. My dad was so angry that his lips turned purple, he covered his chest and coughed violently. Dad. I quickly stepped forward, supported him, and helped him calm down. You bastard. My dad pointed at him and couldn't finish a sentence. Uncle. I raised my head, and there was an unprecedented coldness in my eyes. In your eyes, I am an outsider, right? Su Jiangong gasped and stared at me fiercely. That's right. Good. I nodded. Since I am an outsider. Then it's time for you to pay back the outsider's money